This is nuts. Like when you see this, you're just going to be like breaking. It's going to break science. If you're a scientist and you understand anything about temperatures and melting points, what we're about to show you is going to change, in my opinion, the whole direction of this entire investigation. From what I'm being led to believe, and it just makes logical sense, right?
Yeah, it's almost like there's an incinerator nearby and they just dropped the car off.
Right. So I'm going to turn the camera on what we're walking up on right now. I want you to notice there's a vehicle that's been here since the beginning. It wasn't dropped off here, obviously.
Look at the chair's not melted.
You can see here there's
it's sitting in the middle.
This is the highest the burn got. Right here. It did not cross the highway. If you look over here, this is the bypass. You can see none of that grass is burned over there. So start to draw some logical conclusions.
Oh, look at it.
We're going to show you some more things as we're walking along here.
How did that not disappear? If
this melted, how did that cone not completely disappear? Because if you look at this vehicle, and I want you to notice the burn, the amount of grass, as you can see, that burned and the char marks. This car is basically completely surrounded by gravel, and you can see a small little flames right here when this grass burned. Yet, when you turn and look right in this direction, besides seeing Dylan, my technical cameraman, you can see this car. And for all you scientists out there that have been sending me images and you're asking me if they're real, I'm here to tell you, in Jesus' name, what we're showing you is real, live on YouTube. So if you enjoy content like this, we ask you to please immediately like this, share this, and subscribe to the channel. Why? Because you are our only hope of getting this out to the world through the YouTube algorithm. This is a tire that is gone. These are the braids of steel inside the tire. Look at this particular rim. Is it safe to say these are aluminum?
Look at the windshield. What's that?
Are these aluminum?
Yeah, that's cast aluminum wheels.
Cast aluminum wheel. You can see it melted.
And the windshield on the inside?
Look at the windshield. That is a windshield right there that is completely melted. We have some jumper cables in the back of the vehicle. We have some cast aluminum here that's pulverized.
Just dust.
How is that possible for a grass fire that did not come from this direction? Because you can see there's nothing that's been burned over here. What could cause that type of destruction when you have a grass fire on this side that obviously didn't connect? But even if it was a grass fire,
and it's still only half burned. I mean,
yeah, you can see there's even some grass over here that's still standing. It's not even been burned. So even down below, directly below this, you can see some wood fence posts that were burned, but you can see all that grass is still good. So how do you get this car this hot? In the comments section, I need to hear from you guys. Honestly, I need you here in the comments section. There's some smart people, and I'm not talking about, I'm talking about some intelligent people out there that understand physics, science, melting points, not the nonsense people. We need to just silence the nonsense for a moment. We need some real scientists, some real professors around the world to check in right now and help us understand what phenomenon, right?
Yeah, it's an anomaly or whatever you want to call that word.
Right, but this is just one vehicle. This is what we're seeing in all.
Oh, there's the window down there in the middle.
Where's the window?
Down in the crack.
Oh, you can see the melted window down in the crack.
It just dripped down in there.
It's just dripped into the, you can see that. I don't know if the camera's picking that up for you. But I've had people reach out to me from around the world asking for these types of images, detailed images. And by the way, thankful that the sheriffs have left. We asked them if I've said, hey, if you guys love your country, allow us to come in here and grab these images. And they've left, and I'm so thankful. And I told the sheriff, said, hey, I'm thankful for you guys because you're sworn to protect the Constitution. You've got more power than anybody in the...
And thank God they left the area.
And thank God they left the area. Yeah, and we're so thankful that they did. They had these stern looks on their faces, man, because we're just like, what law prevents us from having access? Why can the media not have access to this? Why is there a fence? Why are there checkpoints? This is melted copper?
Yeah,
these are the jumper cables.
So what people are familiar with seeing, this is how hot it got. This literally destroyed metal, and I mean the spring had no integrity at all. It was just no resistance.
You can see this. What do you think this is? Is this the tranny?
Wow.
What is that?
The aluminum?
Yeah.
I don't know. Did they maybe it had an aluminum gas tank?
But look at all this. Came all the way out here.
Yeah, that's not just heating and melting. That's liquefying, which is
Liquefying. That's a whole
yeah,
other
that's
level.
probably like 1,500 to 2,000 degrees. Look,
So-
that looks like a cell phone.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
What do you guys think? Talk to me. Share the video. Call Joe Rogan. Right?
Yeah.
Somebody call somebody with way more social media clout than I have. And we're not.
Rock.
The Rock. Where's The Rock at? Where's the PGA at? Where's the people at? Where are the people that love this country? They're going to help us solve this mystery and are going to allow us to have access to what they're doing over there. There's still a TFR, temporary flight restriction, still in place to this day. We cannot fly a drone over that. We've been in touch with the FAA since the first day. We have provided a statement of work on company letterhead saying that we want to get a drone in the sky. Why? Because we want to start watching these hillsides at night for fire. Yes, we might see what they're doing in that town, but we also want to monitor this because we had a fire start up yesterday in Ka'anapali. Whatever it is that caused this, which we don't know, is still trying to cause havoc on this island as we speak. So this threat's not over. The story's not finished. And it's because God Almighty has allowed us to have this type of access to this piece of evidence right now on the side of this highway that's public. And the sheriffs were nice enough to leave us alone. They said we couldn't park here, but why is it that the media is not given access? Is there third-party independent oversight to what's going on? Why is the deputy sheriff, the chief of police, still the coroner? There's so many unanswered questions, but I hope that this brings some insight into what limited things we are able to see right now.
Cable right here.
And quite frankly, this does not make sense. Even if I didn't understand anything about temperature or fires, any logical person can look at this and go, hey,
Oh
man,
my Lord! Look at the motor.
how did this grass fire cause this car to completely melt? Look at this motor.
The manifold
Where's the manifold?
right here.
I know, where is it?
It's dust.
And then look at that push pop in there. Completely intact.
What?
Completely intact.
Well, maybe someone came here and had a
Maybe
kid
they'd have
taking
to throw
pictures
that.
or
I
something.
don't know.
you
It
know.
looks like it endured a fire. I don't know.
That is weird. So this is just pulver. It's literally.
That's the battery.
Oh gosh.
That's lead.
That is lead. That is lead. Oh boy, you're gonna get that off me.
Yeah. Might not be damaging now. Yeah, here's the glass from the lights.
Again, I can't overstate this enough. You guys got to help out right now. We got to get this out to the world.
This is unreal.
Whatever you can do within your power, which is
This-
your little buttons. If your fingers aren't bleeding by the end of tonight from sharing this type of content and people that are bringing you the truth, of course, you can give to our fund that we've created so you can keep this type of reporting going and help the people of Maui. It's MauiLFG.org. You can go to that website if you have a need, if you have a resource, and if you want to give, go to MauiLFG.org. We're out here every day in the field doing what we feel, honestly, God's calling us to do. And here comes the cops. Oh boy. Well, if they arrest us, it's going to be on.
Get a ride from them.
We can get a ride from them. Oh my gosh. No, it's an ambulance. I think we're okay. Okay.
Yeah, this is just beyond unbelievable. So, something that's why I didn't really want to say anything while you were talking,
Sure.
but if you look,
Yeah.
how does, and this was in front, so what's in there to get that hot to melt that?
From this little grass fire right here. You mean. right?
Yeah. I mean,
mean-
because you know how hard it is to burn stuff inside without oxygen and like in an enclosure.
Closed area.
Yeah, so for it to go inside there.
So I'm just going to put you on the spot. You got any theories?
I haven't seen anything that can do this yet. Not personally.
Really? So even in all the outlandish things that you've heard on the internet, is there like
I've seen stuff on movies that could do this.
right? I have scientists telling me that this is Star Wars.
Yeah, stuff like that.
This is Star Wars level
Like the
stuff.
Death Star, like pointed
Correct.
its gun at us, and
Correct. This is like legitimate scientists. They're
Yeah.
telling me, Eric, tell me if these photos and these images I'm seeing are real, because I don't think they can be, because it breaks science. And
Yeah, it's like
something
the-
that's never been that they don't understand.
yeah, definitely like the Death Star pointed its little gun at this thing.
So I mean, again, I don't believe in this stuff personally, and I don't
That's
know
why
if you do. But do you? Could a direct energy weapon do something like this to your knowledge?
I've seen flashlights on TV that burn stuff. That's all I've seen.
Yeah.
But
So who
personally, I don't know. No,
Because every time I hear that, I just check out. I'm going to be
Right.
honest with you.
yeah, until I see it with my own eyes,
Right.
I'm very
That's
skeptical.
the first thing you told me when we met this morning.
Yeah.
I've never met you before, and
Yeah.
you just reached out to me and said there's some stuff I've seen that you need to see.
Yeah.
But the first thing you said is you don't believe in all that conspiracy garbage. You need to see stuff with your own eyes, and
Right.
then you kind of go from there.
Yeah, when you see stuff like this, it makes your head turn sideways like a dog when he, hears that funny sound.
Right. By the way, that day that you were in the wind, you said that you heard some sounds that were similar
Yeah.
to a tornado. Tell me a little bit
Yeah,
more about that.
6 months ago, there was a really big tornado in Texas, and I was just over 100 yards away from it. And that tornado, our RV was like floating, and I opened the door, and I heard this distinctive sound, and it sounded like almost like a high-rise building on a spin cycle. Just whoo. It was a scary, eerie sound, because it was like at that time that I heard it, it wasn't a serious wind that I could feel, but it was like it was something that you could just tell it had power behind it. And I heard that same sound the day of the fire when I was directing traffic 3 times.
Yeah.
And it did knock me up against the rail, and I'm 240 pounds, so I was a foot away from the rail, and me and the guy who was standing next to just got totally slammed against the guardrail.
Yeah.
And and it was, you could almost literally see the wind and the debris spinning.
Well, almost like a tornado or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've been on scene since the moment this thing started. You have a little motorcycle that I know you love, and you've been driving all over the place. I know you're shocking a lot of these bradas. They know you, these guardsmen. Hats off to them. Thank you for their service and what they're doing.
Yeah.
What if you were to list the top 5 things that you see so far that are kind of fishy, that don't make sense to you, besides obviously the bombshell that we just revealed to the world? Any other notes or bullet points that you think were just don't make sense, or that just don't add up?
Well, for the people to hear, because I know there's a lot of internet stuff going on, the communities are being fed, they're given water and food in abundance. There's no lack of.
Okay.
And FEMA was never stopping that, because I heard some stuff about, they were putting a halt to that.
Well, they did block supplies coming in at one point, but anyway.
But not where I was, so
Okay,
I didn't see
yeah.
any of that. I never saw any fire trucks.
Did you see anyone spraying a fire at any time? Any water coming out of a fire truck?
No.
Yeah.
And then the police department would just, it was like, they were just running around like chickens, just
Yeah.
had no idea what was going on or what to do.
Do you believe, and this is a big question, the police were directing traffic around down power lines?
Yeah. No, they weren't, actually. I was.
You were? Okay. So in your opinion, and I know we love our police, man, and I'm not trying to throw anyone
Yeah, I'm
under
not-
the bus, right?
It's just...
What is it that the police were doing? Were they just doing how do you explain what they were doing? Is there any explanation?
One of them said that they were following the orders of the chief of the fire department. And I was like, okay. So, because I was trying to ask a question about how they justified routing the residents into the neighborhood where the fire was headed. And he goes, well, it's up to the chief of police. And I go,
Chief of the police? Or the
chief of fire department. I'm sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, thanks for great.
Island is, that's what I heard.
We
What's
heard
that?
that he was off island. That's what we've heard. We don't know. if
Yeah,
that's
so I
true.
don't even know, but that's what the cop told me.
That's what the cop told you.
Yeah.
That's the rumor we've heard, is that
Yeah,
the chief,
so-
the emergency management director was on Oahu. That's confirmed. It didn't fly
Okay.
back until the next day or the day after. Chief of the fire department, we're told, was gone, and also the governor was off and not in the state.
I did talk to Hawaiian Electric, and one of the guys, he sounded like a very intelligent guy. He said that the power grid for Lahaina was rated at 60 mile per hour, and their protocol, anytime there's a high wind advisory, protocol is to kill power anytime they hear a high wind advisory that's closer to the maximum wind velocity that it can withstand.
Yeah.
And he said that was not met, and he told me to my face.
They never met. They never.
Yeah, he said. Well, it was said that it wasn't turned off, and that because I asked him, I go, well, is the termite infestation at the bottom of all the poles that fell? He goes, no. He goes, that doesn't matter. It's the fact that when the wind blows at such a high rate that it causes. This is what he told me. That it causes the power lines to sway back and forth, and when they touch, that shorts out the transformer, and it blows the transformer. And it blows embers all over the dry grass. And that's what starts the fire.
Right, because the highest point that we could find on aerial imagery was right below the substation on Lahaina Luna. That's the highest point. So if the wind is blowing straight towards the ocean, east to west, then it would make logical sense that the highest
especially
point,
if it's running parallel with the wind, yeah.
Correct. The highest point was right
or
below
not
that
parallel,
substation,
but across.
which is right sort of below the solar field next to Lahaina Luna High School. That's the highest point that we could
and
find.
I think we're going up there.
We are.
From here, yeah.
So any other things that you saw that day that didn't make any sense? Or since that day? Besides, obviously, if you just joined the live, we were just pointing out a car that is next to a small grass fire over here. You can tell there's pieces that didn't even burn. So not a big raging fire right here. We're right next to the bypass, right below Laniapoko. You can tell all that grass did not burn. Yet we have a car sitting here in plain sight. Incinerated with what all is melted here in your opinion that we've just shown? We got melted glass.
It'd probably be easier to count what's not melted.
Right?
The A-arms and the struts are good. Any thick metal. So, and then for some reason the sheet metal withstands high heat. And then, yeah, it's just the frame. The frame and then the sheet metal is the only thing that's left.
And what about in the engine? What melted in there? Should we show them again? Just for people that are just joining the live right now.
The intake.
And this is a enclosed area that's harder to heat, right?
Yeah, there's no oxygen
in here.
Yeah. So all the aluminum, anything aluminum, plastic got melted. Any of the copper, the battery, the lead in the battery, the brake master cylinder, all the you see all the copper is actually still there from the electrical harness, but it's pretty much
decimated.
It's beyond what you call
a grass fire.
Wildfire.
Oh yeah, beyond what even this circumstance, because we're completely surrounded by gravel. Take a look at this area. You can see it's this car standing out here in the middle of this highway, which is still, thank goodness, accessible by the sheriff's not allowing us to be here. We couldn't park here. We had to walk down. But you can see that grass is fine, that grass is fine, and this car has been melted, and the only heat source could have been this grass coming up from here, which is not a lot of fuel. So if you started a little grass fire right here, there's no way in God's green earth you could create this level of destruction. Am I right?
Yeah, just look at the tires. I mean, the tires are...
That's insane.
Yes. The threads are all over for the...
So, okay, so we've got him caught up. For those that just joined the live, this is Donovan. He was in the fire helping people, turning around traffic like the cops should have been, back to the north that were coming down from the north. He noticed that they were directing cars that were coming from the north into a neighborhood that subsequently burned, which is a very maze of cul-de-sacs and dead ends. And then the people that were coming from Lahaina town were being squeezed through a choke point on the north end of Front Street, which we have photos that can prove.
Yeah.
So he's a eyewitness, and he took lots and lots of he has lots and lots of memories and some other things that we won't mention that we're going to preserve for all eternity. And if anyone has any suggestions where we should be preserving our digital images, we're already getting reports of people that are losing those images. We are not allowed to go into the burn zone. There's a fence, there's guards, there's guardsmen, there's police, there's sheriffs. We're not allowed to fly over the burn zone. There's a TFR that's still in place. So we need to be able to, as the people of this country, the citizens of the world essentially, need to find out what this is and how this is possible and get some answers to these questions. So anything else? I just got kind of caught up. what are any other things you want to highlight before we stop the live and go to our next location that you're going to show us?
Yeah.
Thank you, Donovan, by the way. You're a real American hero right now, in my opinion.
Thanks. Yeah, I think we covered most of it.
Most of it? Okay.
Yeah, for now.
All right.
Yeah, it's like,
So, on that note, I just want to end this live saying something that's very important, I believe.
And you could just have them look up the heat that it takes to do the damage, and they can compare that with other fires to see, you know, it's like, okay, they go, because they always throw that conspiracy theory thing out there.
They can do their own research.
Yeah, go
on
look
the
up
melting points.
what the melting points. Yeah, exactly. And then what other fires have done this and what was around them.
Right. But even if they didn't believe that, you can still just logically go a little bit of grass that's burning right there, and no fuel around this car whatsoever, and nothing coming from that end. How in the world could it create enough fuel to melt this vehicle the way that it has? So now the police or somebody has shown up.
Yeah, we're out of here.
We're out of here.
Okay. We're on our way out, sir.
Guys,
How's it?
yeah, we're not allowing no videos or no picture taking, yeah?
Okay.
Thank you for your service, by the way.
Yeah, no problem, no
Good
problem.
looking out.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
We're good. We leave right now. We parked over
Yeah,
there.
we're
We were
parked-
told we
we're
couldn't
parked
park
off the
down
road.
here.
Yeah,
But
this
it's fine.
whole area, even down there, no parking.
So no media or nothing, yeah?
No.
You ever seen anything like this before?
Not this bad.
Like, just open the hood. You want to see under the seat? It's.
No.
I mean, it's.
So the question
The
we're just
engine
asking is like,
melted.
how could this hard car get this hot with grass? A little grass fire. It didn't jump. That
There's
grass
nothing
is
burnt
good.
over there?
There's even a bunch of grass down there
Yeah,
that's
come
good.
look under the hood.
How could you melt? Dude, this is like Star Wars kind of stuff right here.
Yeah, it's
front street. So like this, but what's strange is you have like a
the windshield. The windshield melted over the shifting,
Yeah.
the
you
linkage.
have like
I mean, it was
Fire was
upper part.
like 1,220 for aluminum. But in the back, you can see it
But just think
liquefied,
about
so
this
that's
for a second,
about
bro.
1,500.
How could that thing get hot
And
enough
then
from a little bit of
if you-
grass? How could that
if you see
get so hot
the cast
on a
aluminum
little
on
bit of
top,
grass? It didn't even
that's
burn the
powder.
grass
It's
down
like-
there.
I mean, you could take
In
it
your
actually
brain,
humble it.
logically, without knowing any
It's one of
science,
those
nothing
things
about
where you just look and
temperatures.
kind of scratch your
You
head
had
and go,
campfires. How could that
You know,
melt aluminum and tires
What-
and steel
what burn-
braided brake lines when there's nothing
I
around?
mean, I think, and your
the car?
if you could
And
just
they've left it
guess.
sitting here
I
on the
don't know,
side
I
of
mean,
this road.
I wasn't here.
Well, you don't have to be here. Just look.
You know, the thing is, I'm from.
Even if you torch a car, I don't think you can melt aluminum.
Okay, so
That's where the fire was.
if I said I'll give you
Burn it
10 grand to burn a car like that, what would you need?
I wouldn't even take the money.
You know what I mean? I mean,
That's you going to jail and me going to jail.
I mean no, but say it's at a tow yard
Yeah,
where it's a crap car,
Yeah.
not somebody's car, but you know, like a
Okay,
like how you know the what's that show where they do? What's that show where they
that's in the burn zone.
where like they do the experiments?
Historical house.
It's called where they test everything. It's the red haired guy.
The red roof house. That thing's getting famous.
You know what's what I'm talking about? Where they
There's a
reenact
lot of
everything
blue
just to
stuff
prove
that
it
was really
wrong
good, like
or
blue
prove it
cars
right.
and those blue umbrellas, but
No,
now
it's
they're
like
awesome.
almost like a comedy show. It's a red-headed guy.
I mean, I don't want
I
to
can't
sound like
remember,
I'm crazy,
but-
but I feel like this is like a
Well, that's what I
space
meant. It's like-
attack.
that's the way I look at stuff.
Because it doesn't make any logical sense. I've got scientists telling me that it's like this breaks science
show
as we know it.
is-
And this one, to me,
It's
is the
two
one that
guys
really
that do
stands
the
out
show.
because there's nothing around.
I mean, they do like dart guns and they do.
It's like how
It's like
one house is burned.
and they show like clips on Hollywood,
Just like here.
and then they prove it that it's like bullshit.
Didn't get burned.
Oh, the
Yeah.
Mythbusters.
Yeah,
We're
MythBusters.
gonna get out of here. We
Yeah.
respect you guys.
Yeah,
Aloha.
so this-
Thank you for doing your job.
Oh, you
We
guys
love
going
the
out?
sheriffs
Yeah,
because
we-
you guys are
we
sworn to
just
protect the
clear out.
Constitution.
We
So
were-
thank you.
we went back and forth. Another clear area.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for your
Yeah.
service, bro.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank
guys
you,
be
Aloha.
safe, yeah?
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Phillips and Loom.
Lum.
Lum.
Wow.
Thank you, sir.
That was
Stay
crazy.
safe.
All right. Whew. Yeah, they were really cool.
Yeah, so MythBusters.
Mythbusters. All right, guys, we're going to head off to the next spot that Donovan's got in store for us. I don't know what it's going to be. But again, please do your best to get this word out. We're amateurs. We don't do this for a living. But there's some really smart people out there that do. So we just ask you to give us your thoughts on what that means. Share, like, and subscribe to the channel. Give to Maui LFG. You know what's weird is I never saw the sheriff on Round Maui before, ever.
Thank you for your service, gentlemen.
Aloha, thank you.
We're just taking pictures. Oh,
Yeah, we were just told that we're leaving.
okay. Yeah, he just told us to go. We're going right now.
I live in Kanapali.
Where's your car?
Mine over there.
Right there, we parked it.
Follow you guys get this car.
Thank you.
Okay. So So now we got a sheriff escort.
Run
We
us
might
out of
just
here.
keep the live going in case things get a little nutty or something, yeah?
Taking pictures. Not allowed to take pictures? Since
Can't
when?
take pictures? This is still the United States of America, right?
Last time I checked.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
We got the cops behind us.
You make sure we leave.
Keep them in frame somehow.
Yeah,
So,
he might think that we're going that way.
he might think we're going what way? Oh,
Left.
he's trying to keep us from going down. All right, I'm going to turn the camera. I don't want you guys to look at my goofy face this whole time. Here we go. Trying to fix it. What's that?
Yes, sir. Right over there.
You want us to cross now or wait till we get to the light? Okay.
What does he want?
Wants us to wait till we get to the light. So just giving you guys some shots. This is probably the closest any American's going to get to what's happened here in Lahaina at the moment, unless you do something. Unless you reach out and start calling your congressman, your senator, start reaching out to Maui County Council, start reaching out to the governor. If you don't blow up their phones, if you don't blow up their email,
Okay.
cross right here,
Thank you, sir.
then who will?
Appreciate your service. Good looking out. Stay safe.
Thank you. Aloha. If you don't blow up their phones, who will? If you don't say something's wrong and get some help over here, send the cavalry. Who's the cavalry? I don't know anymore.
We are.
We are the cavalry. That's
We the
right.
people.
We the people. So you guys might have missed all that. I don't know. We were kind of in a rush. We got escorted away from the police.
You want to open?
Tell us about what you were saying about being in a state of
Yeah.
emergency.
You have a water bottle? Oh, state of emergency, yeah. So, the legalities of it. They're required to,
We're not
Yeah.
in a state of emergency.
without a state of emergency, where, and the state of emergency is national
It's not
threat.
like that. That's got.
That-
That's not okay. You're just gonna wash your hands. Okay.
That's
That's
good.
electrolyte water.
So,
That's funny.
state of emergency, oh, it smells like vinegar.
Yeah.
That's all right, it'll work.
It'll clean for sure.
Yeah, state of emergency protocol is a special, well, actually the whole United States is in a state of emergency 24/7. I don't know if you know that, but yeah, that's
It
another.
feels like it.
No, it is. That's what, they don't tell you that, but if you look it up, it's.
But they
it's
should have access.
just like the Patriot Act and all the other silliness stuff that they do.
They should have access to this place.
Yeah, this is, according to the Constitution of the United States, yeah, your pursuit of happiness under the amendments, yes.
And what I was told as well is that the sheriff has the right to uphold the Constitution. That is.
Well, he is an elected official, voted, not like a police is just a policy enforcement agency for the corporation. So the sheriff being the top,
Right.
so the sheriff himself, he has more authority than the president because
that's our safeguard.
he is for the people supposedly, but because the way they set it up in the admiralty court system, I'm gonna go left field on this, but I'll try to stop. So it's just the sheriff. If you ever need anything, the sheriff has the authority to
Pull up
take
the
care of
wishes.
the wishes of the people, and pretty much have to follow the orders of the people.
So
Because
if,
he was elected.
if a sheriff sees an elected official breaking the Constitution, is there something he can
Yeah,
do?
the sheriff can arrest any police officer. And then you have the provost marshals are the ones that they're the marshals that can arrest sheriffs, so called. So
And what does that stand for? POVO.
Provost, I'm not sure, but it's like one of the highest authorities.
Okay.
But you'll find that because the way our system is set up, that the attorney generals and the Bar Association have a stronghold on our legal system. Because all judges and DAs and all public and private attorneys and the attorney generals of every state and the Department of State, they're all, I don't know if you want to publish this, but they're bar members, and the headquarters is in London.
Of course it is. So what we're going to do next, guys,
Yeah.
we're going to go to another location that Donovan's going to reveal some more stuff that is compelling. If you found that car being melted compelling,
Yeah.
doesn't make sense, let us know in the comments. Share the video. Subscribe to the channel. We're trying to break the internet. Science has been broken here. We're trying to break the internet to find and reach the patriots of our country so that we the people, can realize that we're being, right now, I believe the wool is being pulled over our eyes because we can't fly over this. We can't go into it. The press is not given access. And there's some really spectacular, unusual things that have occurred here that need explanation, that need scientists, that need study. And what I was saying earlier, I think I was muted, but I want to say it again. If you love your country, which I'm sure you do, you love Maui, this you would all agree is a jewel, right? It's a jewel.
Right.
This island chain is a jewel, not just
Just
because it's on American soil, right? But because it's Maui, it's Hawaii.
Right.
So in my opinion, the way I look at it is, if you allow them to do this here in your jewel,
Okay.
right? What's going to happen when they go to Kansas? Not that I don't love Kansas, right?
Yeah, you tell one lie, how many more are they going to follow, right?
Right. But if people don't stand up for Maui right now and send the resources that we need to fight this, whether it's and give us instructions on what we do to protect this island, to protect this people, and to figure out what the hell melted that car when there is no fuel source around it.
Yeah,
we need answers to that now.
The most profound message that I could say is that you watch Senator Cruz, you watch all of the congressional televised arguments for whether it's the rights of the people, whether the FBI had documents that were not, that they know of, that weren't brought out in the public. Okay, they show all these things publicly because it's the people they're showing it to, because we live in a free country, land of the free, home of the brave.
Right.
It's up to the people to hear that and take action because we are the boss.
Right. So
and if they tell the boss what's going on and the boss doesn't do anything, don't complain.
Right. So my question I'm going to pose to you guys, are you free? And most importantly right now, are you brave?
Yeah.
Right? Is there bravery left in this country? I've been told by multiple people I'm risking my life by doing what I'm doing. I've already gotten death threats. He didn't want to go on camera. Last time I checked, you look pretty brave to me. I wouldn't want to mess with you.
And so, and they all stand at those football games and put their hand, land of the free, home of the brave, sing the national anthem.
Right. Everybody wants to watch football and watch UFC and watch people fight.
And put your money where your mouth is.
You want to see fight? You're getting the fight. Get in the fight. Get in the real fight. Seriously, get off the freaking the bleachers of fake fights and get in the real fight for your country. Because if you don't, America, you ain't gonna have a country, man. You are not gonna have a country. And if you think I'm kidding, roll the tape forward 20 and 30 years. What are you gonna hand your children?
Yeah.
Tyranny, authoritarianism, space robots. I don't know what the hell it is. But all I know is if we give 1 inch according to the law and the Constitution, right?
Yeah.
Then you don't really have the law or the Constitution. If you give 1 inch of a cornerstone foundational freedom,
right,
then you don't really have a Constitution.
Yeah, ask your local authorities if they know the first 3 words of the Constitution. We the people.
Right.
And they don't even know it.
Really?
Yeah, but they swear to it.
Yeah.
They swear to uphold it.
That's how disconnected they are.
So what's the call to action? Should we ask everyone that's reading this, listening to this, to go read their Constitution? What would you, honestly, I'm trying to motivate people here because this is a real situation, and you seem like you know some really important things. What would you? How would you mobilize the people that are watching this right now to help us?
The only thing they can stop you from doing legally or lawfully is injury, damage, and loss and breach of the peace. That's the laws of our country. Everything outside that is illegal and money grabbing. It's called statutes and codes.
Right.
So it's very simple. If you're not hurting anybody, stealing their property or damaging their property or breaching their peace, that's what our country is founded on.
But last time I checked, weren't they just looting during Black Lives Matter and all that stuff? And none of those. I'm not trying to pull up that out of the past, but I have a feeling that we're dealing with the same people that didn't enforce those laws, right?
That's because the Bar Association.
It's the Bar Association.
You and I will have this great conversation eventually. But
trust me, I understand what's going on with the Department of Justice.
All you have to do is look at the Hawaiian flag. Was that the Union Jack? Okay, the British Empire owns 3/4 of the world. This, like I said, it'll be
could be a little heavy for the audience.
Yeah.
Let's stay on task. Save Maui first, and we're going to cover all this stuff later.
And I can prove it.
Yeah. But on a serious note, guys, I want to, before we go to the next spot, I just want to seal this video in prayer.
Okay.
I believe the enemy will not have access to what we're doing. Don't know how.
Hopefully, yes.
Don't know how that works, but I call on the supernatural power of God. I seal this video in Jesus' name, because He is our only hope. And we need to remember that every state constitution, I believe, has the word God in it, and we are a godly country, and every dollar bill has got God on it.
In God
right?
we trust.
In God we trust. So whoever, I know who my God is, but whoever your God is, it's time to start trusting. It's time to start listening, and it's time to start praying, and it's time to start invoking the spiritual forces that I know will help us win this battle. And I also, I'm going to say, I pray for all the lives that were lost
Yeah.
right here. And I'm not forgetting that. I'm not
Yeah,
doing this for
that's-
entertainment. I'm not doing this for YouTube
Amen.
likes.
Amen. Yes.
I pray for every soul that perished in this fire, because if it can melt aluminum in a car,
That's why I was willing to do this.
Right.
For the people. I have no motive. I don't.
Right.
I'm not, I don't.
Sir.
Yeah. It's. I mean, I brought food. I brought water. I helped them in traffic. Everything's for the people, whether they deserve it or not.
Yeah.
You know.
well,
It's
dude,
just-
I think you're a hero, bro, for doing this and for what you did that day. And I think it's people like you that makes our country, like the backbone of our country, right? And it's the unsung
Appreciate
heroes
it.
that we're going to try to show on this channel. And obviously, I hope people remember you. And if they want to give to you at some point in time, I'm happy to put your information out there.
Okay.
We're raising money through MauiLFG.org, but most of our videos, all of our videos we're making right now, we put the information for the people that
Yeah.
are featured. And so if people do want to give to you, do you have a...
Yeah, no,
you're
I-
good. But if you did at some point in time, you can give to Maui LFG. You can put the word Donovan on there. We will get money to him that he can then give to people that he wants to help.
I don't need it, but I think.
You don't need it. I don't need it. And for all you haters out there that think I'm doing this for anything other than just trying to help my community and also foil the plans of whatever this is all about, I just like to sell real estate. And by the way, don't make realtors your enemy, because real estate agents are not calling to buy land. People call realtors. And then the realtors, I'm telling them, no, go away. So let's not vilify the people that are here to help. This is a real estate problem, and you need real estate professionals to help with the real estate problems, bottom line. So for all you realtors out there, step up, control the public image, do something for the community, and they will remember that, and you will help, because you are needed. We are real estate professionals. NAR, I'm talking to you. Please put out a campaign that encourages and mobilizes the realtors. A lot of realtors on this island have made millions and millions of dollars. I hope they're going to step forth and not going to flee the island, and go live in some mansion somewhere. You're going to stick around. And that's
pay it forward. Yeah.
right. And that's my last message. Don't leave Maui. Don't leave Maui. The way they win is if you run. If you run and tuck tail and go back to the mainland, that's obviously your decision. But I know Archie Kalepa is really concerned that the people are going to want to leave, or worst case scenario, they have to leave because there's no economic opportunity.
Right.
So you have to come to Maui. Those of you that are not coming to Maui right now, I'm talking to you. No matter what they say, the rest of this island is 100% normal. I haven't been there yet. I haven't left the west side, but I've heard it's completely normal. But
Yeah, I was just there.
they're getting choked out. Their businesses are
Yeah,
closing
that's-
as we speak. So if you people don't book a trip to Maui right now, if you let these people, if you listen to the people that have the pulpit that say, "Oh, don't come to Maui," yeah, don't come to West Maui. I got you. Let the West rest,
Yeah,
right?
that's.
But go to the rest, right?
Yeah.
Let the West Side's the best side. We know
Yeah,
that. That's why they wanted it.
This
by the way.
island is 80% economy based.
Right. So,
So-
come to Maui, book.
So even if the locals don't want the tourists here, without the tourists, there will be no money. There will be no food. It'll cause major crisis. And I'm
Right.
not trying to sell anything, but I'm just giving you information. What you do with it is up to you.
Right. But if you cancel all your vacations in Wailea and Kihei and Paia, then guess what? They're gonna win. You vote with your pocketbook. You vote with where you decide to go. And if you cancel if this is too hot to handle, this might be. But Kihei is hot in a nice way. Wailea is hot in a nice way. Come here and support. Do what you can, but don't leave the West Side if you're from here. Don't let them choke us out. And come to Maui and support the economy. We're gonna go to the next spot. Donovan, thank you so much for your time, brother. Much aloha.
You're welcome. Aloha.
Any last words?
Oh,
Sorry,
strength,
gotta make sure you're in frame.
strength and honor.
Strength and honor.
And I get that on my arm.
Dylan, thank you, sir, for all your
course.
efforts, brother. You are there's always a technical person in the background making it all possible, and they're the unsung heroes, right? Well, not on my channel, man. You're a hero, Dylan. Thank you.
You are as well.
At the drop of a
You
hat,
all are.
he comes with me and gets all the technical side set up. So thank you, sir. Much aloha.
Yeah, you're awesome. Kid.
Shout outs for Dylan.
We all are.
We
So
all
start
are.
acting like you're here already.
Right. Every person matters. And if you're someone that wants to come on this channel and tell your story, we're here. If you're a survivor that wants to tell your story, or if you're a a member of the community, if you're anybody, if you're a firefighter, a police officer, a member of the government, we want to hear the story. Let's get the truth out so that people can hear it. Because obviously the press is not doing their job because they can't do their job, is
Right.
what it seems like.
Yeah, they're under control.
Under control. Thank you guys. Much aloha. Right here, D. This button. This is Eric West here, HawaiiRealEstate.org, coming to you from the beautiful island of Maui. I'm here with the now somewhat world-famous Fish. This is a follow-up interview to two interviews that I did with him. One was on a live where he just showed up randomly, and that was pretty cool. Didn't expect him to show up, but he did, and he told us some things about what happened on Front Street during the fires and revealed some interesting things that have since been corroborated by other witnesses. And then did a second interview where he came on and told a little bit more of his story. Since then, he's been contacted, I think, you said, over 300 text messages from people all around the world. And so we've decided to help Fish. People have offered to send him money, but he's refused, essentially. But now we've set him up. My son just set him up with a Venmo, which is Maui Fish, and we'll put a link in the description if you want to give to Fish. But I thought having an exclusive interview with him right now would be super helpful, considering what's happening right now in Maui. And there's other news agencies have reached out, and of course he doesn't want to talk to just anybody. And we just thought we would take this opportunity so we can clear the air on a couple things, but also to kind of tell the story fresh from the top for those of you that haven't seen those lives or seen those videos. And of course, this video is brought to you by Maui LFG, which stands for Maui Let's Fill the Gap. We're all about bringing you truth, which is a gap we're seeing right now. Communication, which is a huge gap. We're just now starting to get a little 3G and 4G, but the phones are dropping calls, and so there's been a huge communication gap here on Maui. And I believe that Fish is somebody that's really truly helping fill the truth gap so that you guys can get a sense of what's going on here and get some clarity on it. And I think there's nobody better right now to represent Maui in terms of what Fish has experienced and some of his thoughts on what's happening here. So Fish, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day today to come talk to me and to share with the world some of your thoughts about what's going on here in Lahaina town. So maybe just take it from the top. How long have you been here and where you're from? I know you wanted to clear up some things that were on a different television show, and you can just kind of clear the air on some of the things you want to make sure people understand.
Okay, first and foremost, I'm not from here. I was born in Portland, Oregon, and I've lived here probably 23 years out of the last 40 years. I've been here 15 to 20 times, and so I just want, especially the locals here, to know that I have never claimed that I am from here. That's not a good thing to say on the island.
Right.
And also, I want people to know that I'm not blaming the policemen in this incident. And but I do blame the chief of police or whoever the commanding officer was that told them all to stand down, because I feel that they were just as naive as I was at the moment. I just didn't understand anything that was going on. So that first and foremost.
Okay. So that day that you were leaving Front Street, obviously you were just tell us the story essentially, just to get everyone caught up to what you experienced that day as the fire was coming down the hill. You were in the town of Lahaina, obviously down in that area.
Well, I wasn't in downtown Lahaina. I woke up and I realized the electricity was off and the wind was very, very strong. So I decided not to weave that day, so I did not go downtown to Cheeseburger where I usually do, and I went to Safeway to get some things to eat. And the electricity was off, but they had their alternative electricity, and that was about 2:30, and I think it took about an hour and a half in line. I got some orange juice. I went to the table and sat down, read the news.
And this was
Right.
around, this was Foodland or Safeway?
Safeway.
Safeway, got you, okay.
And but the internet went out. So and then I noticed a lot of people standing by the door, and so I went up to the door and looked out, and there was a fire, and I couldn't believe it. It was so thick I couldn't see the gateway, which is across the street. It was totally blacked out from the smoke, and it was streaming across the Kahomakai village.
Do you know about what time that would have been, Fish?
Uh,
To the best of your knowledge?
I was getting Probably around 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay.
Yes, I usually carry a clock with me, but I left all my stuff behind, all my weaving stuff behind, because there's no sense weaving that day. You can't weave in the wind.
Right.
And so I looked at everybody, and they're just standing. I said, I think we should evacuate. This wind's very strong. It could be here in just a couple minutes. Nobody said anything. I said, well, I couldn't go down the highway because the poles were down. So I went around Safeway, back where the luau was at, and I saw all the cars were there, and none of them were moving. And I started walking north towards the chart house, which took probably about 10 minutes. And there were a few people walking in front of me, and the people in the cars were asking, would you like a ride? And they went into the cars. Then someone asked me, I went, no, there's a fire back there. You should be getting out of here, you know. And they're like, And I figured something must have been obstructing the traffic up ahead, another pole down or something like that. But when I got to the chart house, all that was there was a police car parked on the side and one policeman in front of the traffic. And he wouldn't allow them to leave.
Right.
And I was,
So we've since found a video that you can search up called Herzog, Herzog, and it details in very living. It's a very daunting, haunting type of video. But you can watch him trying to leave Lahaina. He was coming from Kihei and he was going to Kihei and was routed into Lahaina. He eventually abandons his car and is able to escape on foot, which he does about the same time, possibly, as Fish was there. But he walks out on the north end of Front Street next to the chart house. And I've provided screenshots on my channel in the community tab where you can see exactly where the police cars were positioned, as Fish just mentioned. And we're getting many different stories corroborating exactly what he said happened. And at that time, in that area, you can still see all the telephone poles, at least that you can see in those videos, are still standing up. And all the traffic was getting routed basically through the stoplight, essentially. And there wasn't like a bunch of cars going on both lanes, escaping really quick, because it looks like they had the southbound lane blocked, essentially.
yes.
And there was no... They couldn't go down the southbound lane to escape.
Yes, they had all the traffic southbound about 1,000 feet away, and I saw all the police there. And when I got there, I was wondering why they were all stopped, and I was wondering, is he going to allow me to walk through? But I looked ahead and I saw one person on a bicycle and one person walking ahead, and I saw that they weren't being stopped. And I looked over at the policeman and I said, what are you doing? And he says, I'm just following orders. I said, there's a fire back there, and he goes, well, I'm just following orders. And I'm wondering what is going on. And so I just decided, well, I'm going to walk right by him. This is crazy. He's got to be letting these people out, because it's going to be obvious in a minute or two that there's a fire. But from where he was at, you couldn't see down the highway around the corner of what was happening. And
but it's pretty obvious. There's billowing smoke and black. And
they see the way that it curves. You couldn't see around Kahoma Kai, where it was at when I walked out of Safeway.
So you had information that he didn't have because of what you just saw coming down Front Street, that maybe he couldn't see where he was at, essentially.
Right, exactly.
Okay, I got you.
So I decided that, well, I'm just going to walk on, and I did. And it takes about 15 minutes to walk from Chart House to Waikuli Beach. And during the 15 minutes I was walking, I kept turning around to see if any cars were coming out. None came out. And I was totally confused, but the wind's blowing, and you can hardly even stand up, and all the traffic was backed up there. But all in that 15 minutes, from the time I got to Waikuli Beach, I couldn't see around the corner there anymore. Not one car came out.
Wow.
And then, as I said, I'm fighting the wind, and then all of a sudden I heard boom, boom, and I figured I've heard telephone poles where I'm at fall down and make that sound. So, okay, some more telephone poles have fallen down. And then I thought I heard screaming, but I really couldn't discern because of the wind. You know, your mind starts, you know, you get these strange sounds when it's going through the wires and all this. And I'm, no, this can't be. This just can't be. And so I made my way back to my tent and hunkered down for the night. It got shredded, you know, and I woke up just totally filthy. I had no idea what had happened.
Wow.
And so I went across to the park and I saw two people walking, and I asked them, do you know if Safeway's open? They said, yeah. I said, okay. And so I started walking towards Safeway, and then I realized when I got to Lealii, which is where the tennis court and the Civic Center is,
Yep.
the fire had gotten that far, about a 5-minute walk from where I'm camped at. And I had no idea it got this far. And as I'm walking down Front Street, across the street and on the other side, everything's burned out. I'm in shock.
Wow.
Just total shock.
So
And,
did you notice any emergency vehicles or personnel or people or anything? What did you observe when you were walking down Front Street the morning after the fire?
Well, when I got to Front Street, where the chart house was, they had it blocked off, and someone went through there, and then somebody in a uniform came over to tell the people that were standing there, don't let anyone down that way. And when I looked, I saw all these burned out cars, and I immediately felt like, why didn't I do something, you know, more, you know, because I knew, but I was in shock. And so I'm walking down the highway and breathing in all this stuff. I'm coughing, and my eyes are this, and I'm looking. I'm just totally in shock. And they didn't let him, and all this stuff's going through my mind. But anyway, I get to Safeway, and it was closed. And so I walked back, and all the roads were blocked, and I just could not believe the destruction that had happened there. And but you know, and the internet was not working for a few days, and I just didn't talk to anybody about it. You know, it's just I had no idea, and also I felt guilty. You know, I felt I was the watchman in the tower, and there was the fire, and I didn't warn the people, and blood's on my hands.
No, I mean that's not the case.
But
You were given an exit, you know, and you followed your instinct, and
well, the only people survived were the ones that went through the barricade. You know,
right.
and I just and
So do you have any theories? Do you have any thoughts on why? I mean, I know you're saying it's not the police officer's fault and whoever's in charge, but do you have any? I know it's been a couple weeks now. You've had a lot of time to think and talk and ask people, and people have called you, and you know you're just to me you're like a sage wise man. That's how I've always looked at you. You're somebody that knows things that other people don't know because of your background, your history, your education, the things that you've done in your life, and you've been here and you listen, and I know you're a man of God. I know you've got a faith and you know the Bible. What do you think?
It's a choreographed disaster. You know, the pattern of it is just too obvious. You know, not only were they blocking where I was at, the other end of town, I found out they had Maui Electric was trying to set the poles up during the wind, and they had the highway blocked off with that. And the lack of communication, the sirens not going off, the water not being used, I mean, you could go on and on. And then they're lying to us about the people and the children. That's what a lot of people have been contacting me, because they want to know what happened to the kids. Well, all you got to do is extrapolate. There's 3,001 students in Lahaina. 1,000 of them have been accounted for. They're going to either alternative schools or online. That's 2,000 children not accounted for. And this has been weeks afterwards. And they're talking about 100 or maybe 850 or 1,100 that are missing. It doesn't add up.
Nothing adds up.
Nothing adds up.
I mean, no pun here, but it seems kind of fishy, don't it, Fish?
Very fishy.
Very fishy.
And also, I went to open a bank account, and I never told anyone which bank or what I'd done. And the next day, I got a text on my phone saying someone's trying to withdraw cash from your account. And I went to the link, and it had the online thing for that bank, which I had not installed or anything yet. And had I probably would have had all my money taken. So I called the bank, and I told them what happened. And they said, oh, well, someone tried to phish you. I'm like, but I haven't told anyone I went to the bank. How could they know it? There's nothing on my phone or anything.
So Fish right out of the gate gets a bank account for the first time in 12 years.
Yes.
And you get fished right out of the gate. As a matter of fact, I think I mentioned this to you earlier, but I have a couple that lost 2 homes in Lahaina, and they contacted the phone number that they were given for the Red Cross, and they followed all the directions, and they're in their late 70s. They're not very tech savvy, and I've got it all recorded. They just don't want me to share it because they're private people, but they're out of their mind crazy right now because they followed all these instructions to get their Red Cross assistance and ended up getting scammed, getting phished as well. So this is a warning to all those people out there that are trying to process claims with FEMA and Red Cross. Be very, very aware that there are scammers out there injecting themselves. I'm not saying it's the Red Cross. I'm just saying be very, very careful. And I think you've already experienced that, right? People
Yes.
taking advantage of people when they're as down and out as they possibly could be. So if you missed the beginning of this, of course, we're having some difficulty with our live transmissions because we're one of the few Starlinks on Maui, but Fish has had over 300 people reach out to him, try to give him money. He's refused it, but we've told him, hey, Fish, man, it's time to set up a Venmo. So we've done that. It's Maui Fish. If you want to give to Fish, please do so freely. And the interesting thing is people have come up to him and tried to give him gift cards and money, and he just says, I don't need it. Just give it to someone else that does. So that's the kind of man you're dealing with here. And if he does get some money from this, he wants to use it to promote some of the things that God's put on his heart to share with the world on maybe a platform someday. So he's going to try to he's a minimalist in the highest degree of the word, but he's going to take some of the funds and hopefully use it to rebuild his life, but also a platform someday to share some of his sage wisdom that he's come across. So so back to our topic at hand here. It's an orchestrated, what did you say?
Choreographed disaster.
Choreographed disaster. Are you willing to go as far as to say who or what or why, or are you just going to leave it at that? You let them make their own decisions. Do you have any insight there? And again, I'm not a tinfoil hat conspiracy theory guy, but do you have anything you want to share? And I understand if you don't, but if there's anything you want to share on that topic, do you have anything that you want to?
Well, it's something probably anyone who's been on the internet for 30 years like I have knows that BlackRock and Vanguard are the owners of the Hawaiian Electric Company, where FEMA's staying at their $1,000 plus rooms is owned by Bill Gates. All the same names keep popping up. The sheriff who was involved with the Las Vegas debacle, he was here for 5 weeks. He wants a 29% increase in pay, and he's not only the police chief, but he's the coroner.
Right,
And
which is against the statute, right?
Against the statute,
supposed
Hawaiian
to be
law, but
right.
There it is. What are you going to do about it?
Right.
So he's in charge as a coroner. Well, it's the same as Hunter Thompson, who wrote a book on George Bush, and he was very excited about getting it published. 2 days before it was getting published, he committed suicide by shooting himself in the head twice. The coroner put it out as a suicide. So that's fact.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that went wrong simultaneously. So in my mind, the way I look at that is the probability of that happening in nature is very unusual. Like if you have one thing that doesn't happen, the siren doesn't go off, okay. Mm-hmm. Or maybe the water didn't work. I mean, for one of these things to be in place, I think is somewhat reasonable.
Right.
But to have absolutely everything go wrong, that part to me seems very unlikely. And so therefore it does point the finger in the direction of some type of human causation. Would you agree?
It was not organic.
Right, thank you.
So.
Yeah. So we obviously would love to hear your comments, what you think, but more importantly, and I've said this time and time again because I'm getting calls like Fish is from people all around the world talking about what happened. I don't know about you, Fish, but I'm a little more concerned about what's about to happen.
Yes.
Right? What's the next step that they, whoever they are, is going to take that we're not thinking about because they're creating confusion, right? One of the things from the art of war is the secret is to create, right, confusion so that the enemy does not know your truest intent.
Right.
So what I want to do, and the reason, honestly, I wanted to talk to Fish, is I believe because of this interview, somebody out there that's way above our pay grade, right? That's at a completely different level of government or society or intelligence, or I'm not saying intelligence as in they're smarter than us, but they have information access that is beyond our reach. They can now mobilize assets, they can now mobilize attorneys, they can mobilize agencies of the government, they can mobilize things because they're hearing of this story from Fish. So sometimes I believe God uses interesting messengers to envoy or beacon or clarion call a holy assembly of people together to do the right thing. And I think ultimately that's the call that I have for you. So if you're listening to this and you're one of those people, I pray to God that you will be moved to do the right thing and to do the next thing and to help us, because the way I look at it is not here on Maui, not on these grounds that are holy to these people with this beautiful, lovely people that have served people on vacation for decades and grew sugar cane and pineapples, and not here, not in Hawaii. And we need your help right now. And quite frankly, Fish, the way I feel is if they can get away, whoever they are, with it here, they're going to be coming to your backyard next.
This is a shakedown. A shakedown cruise. You know, this whole thing will be analyzed, and they'll see where, you know, that's just the way they work. You know, they'll do it. They'll see where they got to control this or they got to control that, and they'll fine tune it, and it'll happen elsewhere. And when it happens elsewhere, this will be forgotten, just like Las Vegas. You know, case dismissed. You know,
Right.
Closed.
So what I'm asking, I don't know if you agree with me, that we need to draw a line in the sand right now.
That's right.
We need to draw a line in the sand at Maui, because if they don't draw a line in the sand, like you said, it's just going to be an exercise of education for them to refine it and do it better in the next spot, whoever they is and whatever it is. But I think it's time for people to step up and do the right thing and to fight the battle now and come forth and put on their armor, take out their weapons of intellect or whatever it is that they need to fight this. And I also believe that prayer is essential at this time. So
Well, Yahweh does not need your prayers, but you need your prayers to remind yourself. You know, that's what prayers are, is to remind yourself who you are. Yahweh does not need your prayers to exist. We need our prayers to exist and to receive the messages from Him.
Receive the intellect, to receive the discernment,
Yes.
and what the call to action is, the
always
marching
pray for-
orders, if you will.
I always pray for wisdom and discernment, and that I don't go to the left or the right. And sometimes I do, I admit.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I say things that I wanted to say, but I didn't say. I think we're all guilty of that.
For sure.
But I'm aware of it, and when it happens, I stop it. You know, I do it. You know, I'm trying to be, you know, I am a servant of the Lord. You know, to what degree? I'm not the least, I'm not the most. I'm whatever degree that is. That's the way I see myself. And all I wanted in life, I had a request to the Lord that before I die, I want to know the truth. I don't want anything else, just that. I want to know the truth, because the truth will set you free.
And I also know, Fish, that your name is because of your ministry. And I know that you've been sharing that on Front Street for a long time. So, in case you guys don't know, if you haven't been to Maui, if you're whatever, this is the gentleman that sits right next to Cheeseburger in Paradise. He sits at I used to call it like, ground zero of Lahaina. It's like Lahaina, Luna, and Front Street. That's his turf right there. And he makes things, and fish specifically, he gives them to kids. But
Angelfish.
Angelfish, thank you. And what is your message that you share with people all the time on Front Street?
Well, I try to get them into a dialogue about the Lord, but I find many people are ignorant. You know, many people are saying, "Oh, Yeshua can come at any moment," and I say, "No, no, that's not true. The temples have to be rebuilt first, and the sacrifice has to start." You know, well, our minister said he could come any minute. I said, "Your minister is wrong. Daniel and Revelations both state the temple must be rebuilt first, and the sacrifice must resume for 7 years. And in the middle of that 7 years, the sacrifice will be stopped, and this is the time of the beast. And Yeshua the reason he was crucified on Calvary is the Calvary always comes at the last minute. And so, he's not going to come before the temple's rebuilt. It's not my opinion. This is Scripture. This is Old Testament and New Testament. And until you realize that, that's one of the first steps to wisdom. The first step is to acknowledge God, that he is good and he is just. And from there, all other wisdom comes through.
Yeah. Amen. Well, thank you for sharing that. And I know you know your stuff when it comes to the Word of God, and you study it all the time. And from that comes your discernment and your wisdom, I believe. And I believe you're a very wise man. And I thank you for sharing this. We need more kapuna, right?
Yes.
To come forward with their wisdom, right? What they're hearing from God, because I believe that it's the elders that direct the younger generations to do the right thing. So is there any final words you want to say to the people that are watching this? Anything, any final thoughts or directions or just anything that's on your heart before we end the interview?
For all you people whose hearts are turned towards us, that want to help us, God bless you. It's unfortunate that a tragedy has to just thank you and bless you, and I can't say anymore.
Well, thank you, Fish. I appreciate you coming here, man. And I'm so thankful that you're alive. So many people asked about you. You have no idea. I've been featuring Fish on my channel for years, and you're just such an important part of the community. You're a foundational cornerstone in so many ways. And in the least of ways now, I believe, has become some of the greatest of ways that you're serving this community. So I thank you, man. Know that you are loved. You're so loved by the people of Maui. And now the people around the world get to know you and how special you are. And if you want to give to Fish, again, Maui Fish is his Venmo. We want to support you in whatever you want to do in the future. And thank you for all you've done. And thank you for coming on